is there, right? So, what did he say? He said, in order to understand Matan Torah, we have to, understand the whole lineage of Kriyas Yamsuf, which is to understand the splitting of the river Losid Lavai. We have to explain Matan Torah because Kriyas Yamsuf was all Achon from Matan Torah. It wasn't part of Yetzias Mitzrayim. He proved that. It wasn't even integral to getting rid of the Mitzrayim. Hashem could do that many ways, and they came out on the same side, and so on. So he said, what did he say? It was really something they had to experience as Achon of Matan Torah. So what is it? So what's Matan Torah? Then we'll go backwards. Understanding Matan Torah, understand Kriyas Yamsuf, and then understand Losid Lavai, B'kiyas Handar, all the details that he pointed out, the differences between Kriyas Yamsuf and the crossing of both the sea and the river, Losid Lavai. So V'inyan B'zedina Yedua, throughout the Shitzchachas the Uftu. What's novel, the accomplishment, the Matan Torah. The obvious question is, you have to look for what is the Chiddush. The answer is yes, because the Avos kept Torah mitzvahs before. So what's the big, nothing new? There's no new information. So what's the point of it all? The Chiddush is not the information. The Chiddush is that now the fusion of Gashmius, not just Gashmius, which is material, but Chumrius, which is coarse material, becomes united with Ruchnius. Before Matan Torah, there's no connection between Ruchnius and Gashmius. The famous Medrash says, Moishe, this is all describing what happened in Matan Torah. Moishe the Melech Shagoza v'Amar, Moishe the king who decreed and said, B'nei Rome layedu l'Surya, those who live in Rome should not descend to Syria, u'b'nei Surya layalu l'Roimi, and those who live in the lower kingdom should not descend to the higher one, to Roimi. And then a day came and he nullified that decree. Was when Hashem created the world, Gozar he decreed, v'Amar, and he said, Hashemayim, Shemayim la'Hashem, heaven belongs to God, and earth, the physical, was given to man. So there was this great divide, this impossible gulf between Ruchnius and Gashmius, which is the most logical division possible. And then when he decided to give the Torah, he nullified this first decree. I just finished saying that it's the most logical thing. Why is it called a decree? Because prior to creation, there's no logic. And now, in retrospect, the division between Ruchnius and Gashmius is logical. It's only because that's the way Mitzias is. But Betzim, it's all a Gzeira to begin with. So there's a Gzeira that separated Gashmius and Ruchnius, and now he's nullifying it. And he said that and what did they wish to say? The lower should ascend to the higher, and the upper shall descend lower, and the fusion and the unity should be created. All of this is not explained in this Maimon, that explains the diyukim here of the order of things. Namely, the first thing mentioned is the aliyah of the tachten, and then the yedid of the elyon. We never thought the other way around. And then V'ani Maschel, God starts it. So it does start with the elyon descending. But in terms of kavana, the kavana is more the aliyah of the tachten than the descent of the elyon. In other words, the point is not to overwhelm the tachten with the elyon, but that the tachten be refined and experience the elyon through his own effort, and therefore it's mentioned first in terms of intent. But in terms of the Seder HaDvarim, it's V'ani Maschel. It starts with the revelation from above, the giving of Torah, the empowerment, or as we're all familiar with the Asarusa de Le'ela. That begins all Avodah. So how does it begin? Hashem descends, that's the Yerida, the empowerment. And then begins the Avodah, Uksiv, and then it's written, Vel Moishe Omar, and to Moshe, the Eibush said, Alei Elikim is sent to God. So Moshe ascending the mountain, that's the Aliyah Satacht, and the ascent of the lower world, the ascent of creation. That's the chiddush in the word of Matan Torah is succinctly expressed in this medrash. Question: even though before Matan Torah, the outset of creation, page 87, this is not new. Surely there's already a fusion of this of spirit and matter. Especially, what's most notably, is in the human being. So, and now he adds in brackets, not only do you see it more there because he's a living creature, but Shoelim Kotan, he actually is a reflection of the entire cosmos. So if it's in him, it means it's true of the creation at large. And what is that? Biskashas haneshama beguv, the fact that his soul fuses with the body. In the words, B'koyach hamafti lasos. That sound familiar? With the power which is wondrous, that's able to achieve this. First of all, is it familiar? Of course. This lashon koyach hamafti lasos. Yotzar, which talks about the body, a living body, and its openings in the soul functioning in it. Now, why is it called, in footnote 23, it's Ramah, the Shulchan Aruch notes this, and this is the bracha one should say, and the Pella Shebedover. Why is it a Pella? Why is it a wonder? Hashem did it, he creates. Why is all of a sudden this the wonder? Creation is not a wonder. This is a wonder. Why?
The neshama stays in the book.
Because of the chibur of ruchnis and gashmis. Not just stays, it can get there in the first place. How do you get, a neshama is a ruchni. Ruchni means it's not bound by time and space. How do you get a ruchni inside a gashmi? Completely incomprehensible. You can't get bigger into smaller, so they can't get infinite into finite. It's koyach hamafti lasos. So what's a shaila then? Concluding the question. There was already such a chibur. So what's the chiddush about Torah, ruchnius and gashmius? The living human being. Memes is true of all living creatures, but not so much because their ruchnius is very limited. No, so it's not such a big pella. That's why he says kemudgish. It's underscored especially by the person because a soul that can choose freely. That's the point. The human being has a soul that is limitless, not just in its ruchnius, but in its ability to choose between right and wrong, morality. Other creatures don't have that. So the ruchnius is very limited. So the pella of the fusion of ruchnius and gashmius in an insect or an animal is not as wondrous as a human being that entertains a soul that has consciousness, that it can entertain, that can choose. And where is it? In the physical brain. Nonetheless, it's not the same. The difference being so the ruchnius is taka in the gashmius and work through it. Still, it doesn't change the physical body. It's a taka pella that the physical body is a host to a spiritual being, a boundless spiritual being like a soul. It's a host. And there's a fusion as well. But the gashmius remains, the physical body remains, the status unchanged, like it was before. More elaboration coming in a moment. That not only is the ruchni within the gashmi, but the pu'ula is, the effect of the ruchni is ba'gashmi atzma, in the physical object itself, the body or the world. That's the chiddush. That the status, the gashmius becomes holy. The gashmius reflects the ruchnius. We're familiar with this, right? This is what the Gemara, the Medrash is, sorry. On the pasuk, it's a pasuk in Shir HaShirim, and she says, she's describing him in all of these, what's the word? A-R, I'm going to pronounce it, amorous terms, that's the way you say it. Yeah, amour, French, English. So she says that, she describes his scent. And then Shemen Turak Shmecha, your name flows like scented oil. It wafts. He's even talking to the Abish that your name is referring to Matan Torah. Once he gave Torah, so your name, your presence, like oil, wafts and permeates the world. And the words before that describe the scent. I forgot the lashon, but your scent is like the scent of the apple. So the Chazal say, what's this talking about? Pre-Matan Torah and post-Matan Torah. The first part of the pasuk where she describes his aroma, his scent. It's a better word for that. At any rate, so that's the mitzvahs which the Avos did for you before Matan Torah. The Avos reichasayu. That's like an aroma, which has no substance. The aroma has no substance. It's only a reflection of a substance. Aval ono shemen tolek shmecha. But this is post-Matan Torah, your name flows like oil, taka scented oil, but oil. That's Maisa and Kavana. But anyway, the diak is, the chiddush is the oil itself. That's us. The Gashmi is not just substance, substantial. Behind the Maisa of the Gashmi, the Avos did mitzvahs, the physical was merely symbolic. So you all know the sticks that Yaakov peeled, tefillin, they represented, and for the moment there was spiritual significance attached to the sticks. But when he finished doing it, it lost its all significance. So it was in the Guf Gashmi K'meireach, just like an aroma, a scent, shenirgish rak b'shas ma'aseh. While it's wafting, you smell it. The source of it is removed. The scent goes with it. What you had at the time, you didn't have the object itself, the actual oil. You had only the aroma. The aroma, reach, is not a physical thing. That's the description of, it's actually very ruchnisdik. The neshama is called ruach. The person faints, aroma, smell, brings the neshama back. Of all of the senses, it's the most spiritual. It's even more than sight. For you're seeing a dover gashmi here. It's just, you're not even seeing the physical thing necessarily, but the aroma. The touch is a very deep place in the nefesh. We learned about this in the Maamar and Takabach and Shapesach, the two nostrils. The right one, the left one. Mashiach is going to smell and judge. Meirach v'doim. We read that yesterday. Verech b'yiras Hashem. It's all connected. At any rate, back to the point. Yavel onu, but as lachem Matan Torah, the pasuk says shemen turak shmecha. Your name flows out like oil. Hainu shat puli b'gufa gashmi. Now, mitzvahs, unlike the Avos, is in the physical body of the object, the body of it. The Maita mitzvahs, lach Matan Torah, pel birur, mitzvahs, post Matan Torah, effective birur, refinement, zichur. And now, birur actually means, what does actually birur mean?
Separate.
To separate, yeah, to separate by identifying the elevated part that's within it. Beirur Shabbos is also zichuch, is a refinement overall of the object, and more than that, it's three dargas: birur, zichuch, and then kedusha becomes holy. Guf hadvarim agashmim in the physical body shebehem nasa mitzvah, with which the mitzvah was performed. And this is done after. He's not just talking about tefillin. Obviously, tefillin are holy. He's even talking about. Let's go further. This is reflected in halachas. That in Maisa mitzvahs there's still holiness. Even after doing it. The halachas they've been a shul. They're no longer davening. It's no longer a shul, but the stones in the place of kedusha have to be treated with certain all kinds of halachas. How they're treated could also be applying even to, let's say, lulav and esrog. There's no kedusha to it really afterwards. There's no mitzvah, to say, after Sukkot, but still you have to treat the lulav and esrog with special halachas. Why? Because some kedusha remains. So he says in 25, he sends us to Megillah, the Gemara that talks about the bricks and the place of a shul. I might also apply another example would be Lulav and Esther, perhaps. This is all after Matan Torah. That there's still spirituality remains in the physical place or object. Even after the mitzvah has been done with it. Much more so when actually engaging in the mitzvah. That's true all now. Whereas the mitzvahs that their forefathers did, even though they were doing the same thing, which we were later commanded to do in Torah, nonetheless, they were analogous to the ascent, to the aroma. After doing it, Yaakov sticks remain ordinary sticks with absolutely no historical significance, yes, but nothing ruchnius at all. Even while he was doing it, it was not really in effect a transformation in the Davar Gashmi as he was doing his mitzvah.
Why did they use Davar Gashmi?
It's a good question. So there was some connection to the world. There was some connection to the world. They explained at length. In Chassidus, we could rephrase your question, why do anything? Why do mitzvahs, period? Remain l'mayla. So it was all ha'chana. It was all ha'chana of preparing the world in some way, engaging it in some way, opening up on many levels, opening up the desire for the Gashmi to as it were, to connect to Ruchnius. Starting the process. We could elaborate, but it's not the point of the Maimah here.
Is this the last point of Kiddush? I always thought that it was by the Avos, like the difference was it just after it didn't remain the Ruchnius. Is this the last point that he said that even while?
Yeah, it's not always spelled out that clearly, yeah, but obviously one leads to the other, because if there was a pull on Davar Gashmi, it would remain. Yeah, but you're right. This also answers, just I'm asking you, you answer me, the rather puzzling statement that Godel mitzvah ba'isa m'she'enim mitzvah ba'isa. Greater is the one who's commanded and does than the one who is not commanded and does. Do you think the other way? If you're doing the mitzvah voluntarily, that's surely much greater than being commanded to do so. And what's the answer? This is the Nakud. Because if you're not commanded to do something, then whatever you're doing is going to remain Leilam Aruchni. You're not going to change the world. It's only with the tzivoy, with the Matan Torah, that the possibility of Gashmis and Ruchnius truly becoming one is possible. Only because God commands it. Mekeicha Atzmos. Doing it on your own, it's a pre-Matan Torah thing. Now we're getting out to the depth of it. All this is Achon, page 87, second paragraph. So, not Achon, I'm sorry. This is, now he's going to explain this deeper. But the inner understanding of the Kiddush and Matan Torah is as follows. Before Matan Torah, Atzilus and Biyah were two separate matters. Let's elaborate. She'elim is biyah who hoyu kavayachol k'medova nifred. Elim is biyah, friends. Creation begins with biyah. What is Atzilus again? Atzilus is the Eibishter revealing himself in 10 spheres. That's the world of the divine, the world of divine revelation. Creation, otherness, a recipient of God's revelation, or the consequence of his revelation. Creation starts at Biyah. By the way, in today's Tanya, which I just looked already, I think it's by the way, but in today's Tanya, you'll have a little, if you can find it and tell me, I'd be gratified, a little more insight, just a nuance in what is the pshat, what does it mean, what's the understanding of the Srafim, what's the understanding of the Chayes HaKodesh. It doesn't speak of Ifanim, mind you, because Ifanim and Nehi, there's no understanding. And Tanya doesn't talk about Eilam Asiyah, at least here openly. It's Yitzirah and B'riyah. But at any rate, what is the Hasaga? What is exactly is the Hasaga? It's one word there, 2 words there to explain. Nothing we've not been saying, but just in three words, gesagt. Have a look at it, okay, and see if you can be happy if you share it with me and with others. So what's Atzilus? Diyos Hashem b'biyah, because in biyah ain't and it's not in a way of, as the Zohar says, Iyu v'chayohi v'garmoicha. There's actually 2 quotes. They're different. He and his chayis. What's that? What's that referring to? Chayoh refers to what? Chayoh and garmoi. What do these 2 words mean? Translation: Chayoh, his life force. Garmoi, his causations. Just words mean nothing. Replace them with other words. What's chayoh and what's garmoi? Yeah, iron keli. So here the quote is, I just said there's 2 different quotes. We're familiar with a little bit of a different quote. How does it go? He is mentioned twice, so here's once. He and his iron is, that's the higher level. It's one ihu, one unity, one degree of unity. He and his kelim are all one. Which, can someone tell me what that means in simple language? I'm a Gil student. What does this mean? He and his, now we're calling it light and vessel. Okay, doesn't really help too much. So simple English, what does this mean? I'm a Gil student.
It just means that the body and soul are one.
There's no bodies and souls in Atzilus.
In Atzilus.
I'm talking about Atzilus. I'm a Gil student. 2 sentences. What are you saying about God? Tell me again. And this is the definition of Atzilus, friends. In 1 or 2 lines. Ihu v'chayohi v'garmohi chad. In Atzilus, what's appreciated is that God's decision to reveal infinite power, infinite expression. That's chayohi. And God's decision to reveal himself in finite descriptive ways, it's all him. It's all him. They're all legitimate, bona fide expressions of him because that's how he chooses to express himself. And the gvul is not more him than the gvul is. And that's the meaning of Havayu Holikim. Havai in general, Havai is Elikim is Keli, Havai is Bligvul, and Elikim is Gvul. Havayu Holikim, it's all you. That's why this is the world of the divine. Atzilus is Eilam Achtos. Right? Al Rebbe couldn't say it or write it. This is the Eibishter, undisguised, unplugged, unfiltered, as it were, even though it's Takapos Tzimtzum. But the point is that the Tzimtzum there on this level is experienced as divine as the Ein Sof is. As we've mentioned many times, it's important to, again, always have the big picture always as the grid upon which anything we learn. Atzmos, the Eibush himself, the whole unit of Eir, the biggest, the first and fundamental Chiddush, novel expression or change, quote unquote, is that there's Eir. What Eir? The very word Eir means what? Revelation. Revelation means already the acknowledgement of something other where you're being revealed. There's no other. That's the big Pchidas Atzmos right there. So to give rise to the notion of Eir, of revelation, of infinite or finite, for God's the same. He's utterly beyond both. And that's expressed. It's taka 10 spheres and it's descriptive, and it's all, this is how you have chosen to express yourself. And it's all you. The Ein Sof, the spheres, the Oir, the Keli, it's all you. Yep, we're clear. Simple definition. Okay. Yeah, but I've trachtig zitten. I don't understand how to mashpia that. Only this is we all thought in your own language at your own time. Shabbos at the time, 15 minutes. Tell us over the head. Just think over. But that's scholar. What are we talking about? What does this mean? To rack the brain till it's grasped to the degree that you can grasp it. It's easy for me because I've got to teach. I have no choice. I've got to think it. So that's the big gift of being a teacher is you can't fool yourself. It's hard to fool yourself. You've got to explain it to somebody. So what does it mean? So in your own mind, do that. Have this conversation with a McGill student. Or your child, or somebody else. Or even better, at your Shabbos table, explain it to somebody. That we learned today, that stuff from Manifanim. Oh yeah, tell us. What are these angels? What are they doing there? What are we talking about them? And in one paragraph, 2 paragraphs, in a few minutes, give it over, then you got it. And of course, it's the challenge is to explain to someone who has no idea, but just because you can't hide behind words and symbols and language, the assumptions, no assumptions, just boom. So not only is the distinction between Atzilus and Biyah is that Biyah completely lost is, now you tell me, okay? Given the challenge. So Biyah is not in the way of Yivachayah. So what is it, yeah? Before we get to the Eitzos. So what now? What's happening in Biyah already? What is no longer? This is no longer. So what is yeah? Huh?
What? I didn't understand the question.
He just said in Biyah, it's not Ein Ze Be'ofen the Yivachayah v'Gemayachad. It's not like that. So what is it? What is Biyah then? Huh? Yeah. English, plain English, McGill student. What's that? What'd you say?
I asked if this McGill student ever graduates. I was thinking the same thing. At some point, he's gonna learn some.
Yes, we keep on bringing fresh McGill students.
Fresh new one.
We bring in new ones. The more challenging, actually, as you get better and more knowledgeable, it's a more challenging one.
It's not all Hashem revealed. It's not all one revelation.
That's nice words. I don't understand what they mean. It's true.
No, in Atzilus, it's all Hashem is revealed. And once you get to Biyah.
I want to tell you something. That's a pretty wonderful revelation. Gan Eden Elyon is Elam HaBriya.
Can you know what? Can you give me the definition of Biyah? Which level is that?
Bri Tzirasiyah.
Oh.
Love with spiritual worlds.
So there's more of a contraction.
It's all true. So, but what is lost on them? What's a fundamental shift? The shift, I'm asking, on the shift in perception, experience.
It's not about him, it's about me a little bit.
Also true. Okay, I'm just looking to get it the way I'm seeing it, understanding it. But it's critical. There's this shift in the objective in reality, and how the experience of reality is fundamentally shifted from Atzilus to Biyah. Okay, so I'll put you out of your misery. I'll tell you what I'm looking for. And that is that in Biyah already, Gvul is achsaron. Finite eclipses and lower. The notion of lower, further, really emerges in Biyah. In Atzilus, this is God's decision to reveal Chachma, Bina, it's all Him. Thoroughly one with Him. Today's Tanya, it's all Bligvul. It's all Bligvul. But the experience in Biyah is, you're saying correctly, because of Tzimtzum and the self. The experience in Biyah is that revelation is more than concealment. That's logic. That's, when you're revealed, you see, we're concealed, we don't. Or Yichud Yilo, Yichud Etato, that's the same thing. Das Elyon, Das Tachten. Atzilus is Das Elyon, Yichud Yilo. The higher unity means it's all him. Gvul and Bligvul, equal expressions of him. Yichud Etato is no, where he's revealed, I see him, where he's concealed, I don't. Where he's more revealed, I see him more, where he's less concealed, see him. It's a whole hierarchy of levels. Further closer, the notion of closer and further begins in Biyah. I'm speaking in relative terms, it's all relative. Atzilus is not closer and further, it's all him. Biyah is already a ladder. Madreges, closer, further, higher. It's not Iyur, v'chayir, v'gamay echad.
It's always him, it's mitzad.
Das Tachten, because the Tzimtzum creates, of course, that's the
Even
point.
in Biyah, it's all him, but it's from,
As Atzilus looks at Biyah, sure.
right.
But it's Biyah, experiences Biyah, that's Yichud Yilo. Yichud Yilo views everything this way. Of course, that's, otherwise it's not true.
Well, from Bria's perspective.
From
it's
Bria's
higher,
perspective, there's further, where further, go down further and further and further. The light dims, revelation is less, and till we're left Ilam Hazin, darkness, and don't see or feel anything. Distance, madreges, that's the whole thing begins. And as Chaim was saying, it's all saying the same thing. You're saying that, therefore, as you go down, the sense of self gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and you gets weaker and weaker. The signal gets weaker. Till Ilam Hazeh, there's no signal.
So what does it mean that they're becoming fused after Matan Torah? What's happening?
Let's go further. The Chiddush of Matan Torah. Oi, it's already 7.